Well, it's that time again.
What time is that?
It's time to get naked.
Like all the way naked?
Well, keep your clothes on, but it's time for the Naked Party Time podcast where we get real and raw about life, leadership, and love.
While having lots of fun along the way.
So what do you say? Are you ready to get naked?
Let's do it.
Well, in honor of the great Olivia Newton-John, who passed away last week, and because of our topic today, I wanted to start this episode by playing her 1981 hit, Physical, or what I know it as, Let's Get Physical. But I realized a few things. Number one, we don't have the copyright to play that song. Number two, more than half of our audience probably isn't even old enough to know that song or who Olivia Newton-John is, which is a shame, by the way. And number three, apparently, while the music video was people in workout clothes dancing, the song isn't really about getting physical with exercise.
It's not?
If you know what I mean.
Was.
But even though we can't play the song, we do want to spend our time today talking about our physical health and recreation in episode 42 of the Naked Party Time podcast and part 3 of a series of podcasts called The Rhythms of Transition. Well, hello to any of our new listeners and welcome back to all of our raving and committed fans. Maybe a slight exaggeration there. Whether you're watching online, hello to you, or listening on your favorite podcast app, we are here to once again be real and raw. And we're going to be real today, right?
Yes.
As we talk about life, leadership, and love, I'm your host, Jeff Manis. I'm joined, as always, by my wife, my partner, my best friend, my podcast queen, my workout maniac,
For real.
Sabrina.
Oh my gosh.
How are you feeling about today's podcast?
I don't
Sabrina?
even want to do this podcast.
Yeah, you've been saying you're not going to do it.
So I'm just going to get up and leave right now, if that's okay.
Okay. Why? Because you're not a workout maniac?
No. I have had seasons where
You have
I'm
had seasons.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm in a crappy one right now.
Mm.
So I don't really want to talk about this podcast.
You are here outside of your own will.
I am. I'm being forced to be here.
You're here because I'm making you be here.
Yes.
Do you want to sing Let's Get Physical?
I do.
Do you remember that song?
Yes. I can
Let's get
picture
physical,
it in my head,
physical.
her outfit.
I want to get physical.
You could do it right here.
Yeah. Oh, I
in our
should.
living room. You could just start.
She had like those leotards
Yes.
on.
Yeah.
And it was not about working out.
And like a headband and.
And she, by the way, if you don't know Olivia Newton-John, she was one of the stars, along with, his name just escaped me,
John
Travolta in the movie Grease, which is,
yes, such a classic.
yeah, it's a classic movie. And sadly, she passed away after a long battle of cancer. But a couple months ago, we started a series of podcasts called The Rhythms of Transition, as we are still in the middle of a massive transition in life.
Yeah.
And we noticed some rhythms that were key to our thriving, and some that we really struggled with, like today's, and some others as well. If you want to go back to episode 39 and 40, that's the first two podcasts in this series. Episode 39 kind of set it all up and did some general overviews. Episode 40, we did a whole episode on the Sabbath, which is still one of my favorite subjects to talk about.
Yeah.
And you can go back and listen to that. We took a little bit of a break on this last podcast, episode 41, and replayed a spending fast challenge because we're on a spending fast right now. And then next month, we will finish up, Lord willing, this series by talking about the rhythm of relationships. And we'll focus on our relationship with Jesus and what that looks like. Today, though, we are going to talk about our physical health, which falls in the rhythm of recreation. In every transition, the rhythm of recreation often takes a back seat, no matter what your transition is. I think this might be the one that's easiest to not be intentional on.
Yeah.
Specifically, areas like exercise, eating healthy, and sleep, and then just general things that energize your life, hobbies, recreation, activities, etc. I didn't say that right, etc.
Etc.
In all reality, our physical health is something that can take a back seat all of the time if we're not careful. Would you agree?
I would agree completely. Sorry, I was taking a drink. Yes, I know for me, if I'm in a hard spiritual season and I need a lot of work with Jesus, I completely stopped working out. Like I can only focus on my spiritual life. So exercising has always been hard for me. I don't even know. I'm like naturally lazy, I think.
Well,
It's my deadly sin.
deadly sin of the Enneagram 9 is called a sloth.
If
It doesn't always mean just being lazy, but
but I can get really lazy and have zero motivation.
Yeah, I think we all can at times. Now, we are not physical health experts by any means. In fact, we are not, as already stated, physical health successes per se. We both still have lots of room to grow in this area. So I thought it'd be good to look at this subject from a different angle today. Not just from a practical angle, not just from, and we'll get into some of the practical things, some of the scientific side of it, but that's not where I want to start today. This is not really going to be a how-to podcast, although again, we might share a few practical tips. We want this to be a why do podcast. Why is this important? And there are some physical reasons why it's important. I'll share those later. But really, the why, if you're a believer like you and I are in Jesus, the why is a spiritual question. Mm-hmm. It's a faith perspective that I want to use today. And here's why we need to talk about this from a faith perspective. And this might sting a little bit.
Oh, it does. I'll tell you. That's why I don't want to be here.
So are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
If I were preaching, I would say, if you're ready, say ready.
Ready.
In Christianity, lots of people are willing to give their hearts to Jesus. They're just not willing to let go of their bodies.
Oh, dang.
I think we sometimes subconsciously say, I'll let Jesus forgive me of all my sins as long as I can still be in charge of all my senses. Is that too harsh?
No, but it's smashing my toes.
Yeah, it's convicting for me to even read it out loud because I'm guilty, you're guilty. All of us should say, I'm guilty of this at times. I do believe God's a holistic God, meaning he doesn't just care about where we will spend eternity. He cares about how we live in the here and now.
Yeah.
He cares about how we manage everything, including our bodies. And we don't often talk about this as a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
But taking care of our bodies is a spiritual discipline. And I know that much of what happens to our bodies is outside of our control. Genetics play a lot into, body type, body size, those kind of things. Because of sin and the brokenness it brought into the world, we do all get sick. Mm-hmm. We get weak. We get diseases or contract viruses, which has been all too familiar the last couple of years with COVID. Eventually, all of us die. Even people who seem to take the best care of their bodies can die young and unexpectedly. Some of that, we can't control all that. We can't stop it. I get that.
Yeah.
But you cannot read the scripture and not believe that God doesn't care about how we treat our bodies. Much of the Old Testament laws and dietary restrictions had major health implications. Even in the New Testament, we read about how our bodies are the temple of God. Mm-hmm. We are to love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. Our bodies. The problem...
Wait just a second. I have never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Heart,
soul, mind, and strength.
I know, but yeah. I've never thought of strength as my body.
You just had an epiphany.
See the light bulb went off. Yeah. Holy buckets.
And I'm not sure. I've not done a deep dive into the Greek word.
To know.
But it's not that much of a leap to say he cares about our bodies when you read scripture. The problem is this. Whenever I say bodies, we typically have one of two reactions. First, we immediately think about our appearance, how we look, which is largely a 20th century or 21st century now Western way of thinking about our bodies, a glamorized and idolized way our bodies should look. And we have all struggled with this at some point, right?
Yes.
I myself have had to work through some major body image issues that I've struggled with for years. It was only through some intense listening, prayer, and inner healing that I began to break free from some of those lies about my body that impacted me for years. Right? So the first thing we think of is, well, the way I look, that's my body. Mm-hmm. The second, more destructive reaction we have when we hear the word bodies is this: it's my body. I can do what I want. Right?
Yep.
We've heard that recently.
Mm-hmm.
That one belief alone, inside and outside of Christianity, has been the driving force behind many of the unborn lives that have been taken, drug addictions, substance abuse, the sexual revolution, overeating, and the great American tragedy of simply letting my body go. It's my body. I can do what I want. If that's what anyone believes, let me calmly, clearly, and compassionately challenge all of us. No, it's not, and no, you can't. Especially if you're a follower of Jesus. Outside of the redemption story in Scripture, one of the major themes of all the Bible is God is the owner, we are the managers.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I have is a gift from God for me to steward. My time, my talents, and my treasure is what we often focus on. But yes, even my body belongs to God. And I am responsible for managing my body in a way that glorifies and pleases Him. And this idea changed everything for me when it comes to my body. My body does not belong to me. It belongs to God. And the way I treat it and care for it is an act of worship to Him. Like, that should change everything, right?
Mm-hmm. That's why I don't like this podcast.
I know, it's convicting.
Oh my gosh, I am so convicted.
Yeah. And again, please
Ugh.
hear me. If you're watching, please listen. This podcast, we don't want to be shameful for anyone or make anyone feel condemned, because we are in the boat with you.
Mm-hmm.
We want it to be a reminder, maybe a little wake-up call for us, that the way we care for our bodies is part of our worship. And I'm not just saying, like, it's not just me saying it's an act of worship. Like, this is in Scripture as well.
Yeah.
Romans 12, verse 1 says this: "And so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God," not your heart, but your body, "because of all He has done for you. Let them, your body, be a living and a holy sacrifice, the kind He will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship Him." That we worship God by giving Him our body. And again, if what I do with my body is an act of worship, that changes everything I do with and to my body. I believe one of the reasons we don't change the way we treat or care for our bodies is our motivation's all wrong. Our motivation is to look better, feel better, live longer, weigh less. And yes, those are often side effects, even good ones, of caring for our bodies, but they are horrible motivators. But when our motivation is caring for our bodies so we can glorify, honor, and worship God, if we truly viewed our bodies as instruments of worship, I believe it would change the way we care for them. Not so God will love us, but because He loved us and because He gave us these bodies, we want to worship Him with it. But in order to do that, we have to change the way we think. We have a thinking problem. And that's verse 2 of Romans chapter 12. Don't copy the behaviors and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. Thoughts there, Sabrina?
I have a lot of thoughts in my head. I can't, like, I need to ask. I'm going to cry. I need to ask for forgiveness. Like, I do feel so convicted.
That's not my goal today.
I know, but it is hard. Like, it is a struggle to do all the things. And I don't want anybody to feel overwhelmed.
Yeah. Yes. That's
And I don't feel
true.
overwhelmed.
Yeah. But we don't want this to
like
make somebody feel overwhelmed.
I have been thinking about exercise and my body in the wrong way.
And so I am. This is for me.
Yeah.
If this podcast is for nobody else, it's for me.
And me too.
To kick me in the butt and love myself the way God loves me. And I live by Romans 12.
I know,
too.
it's your
so
verses.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what truth statement do I need
That's
to
good.
help me
Stay focused.
stay focused and take care of myself and do all the things? Because I just think of taking care of myself to live longer. I don't think of it as an act of worship.
Yeah, that's good. So you said the word overwhelmed, and I think it's a good segue into this next thing here. The way we care for our bodies is an act of worship to God. Not so God will love us, but because he loves us.
Yeah.
It's part of our management responsibilities as followers of Jesus, in the same way that we are to manage our finances, our time, the gifts he gives us. We are also to manage our bodies. But that word overwhelmed, we can take this to an extreme.
Yeah.
We can go the other way as well. So I'm not going to tell, we are not on this podcast to tell you what you should do. That's between you and the Lord.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell anybody that you can never eat anything that tastes good ever again, right? You don't necessarily have to give up sweets forever, or cut out all fried foods the rest of your life, or work out till you hit the floor, or train for a marathon every few months. That is not what we are saying. You don't have to consume your life with caring for your body. That would be a mistake the other way.
Well, it's
right?
the same way. You don't have to read your Bible for
Correct.
30 minutes for Jesus to love you
Yeah.
more. Like, it's just all the things that we know to do to take care of ourselves. There is a balance in all of that.
You don't have to look a certain way, lift a certain amount, run a certain distance at a certain pace, achieve a certain goal, or weigh a certain weight. Those are all earthly ways of thinking.
Yeah.
Those are the behaviors and customs of the world. What I will tell you is this: you might have to cut back on some of the things you're eating or how much you're eating. And you may need to add some regular exercise to your schedule. You might need to use some self-control. Last I checked, self-control is one of the fruits of the Spirit. Part of the giving of our bodies to God is living a self-controlled, healthier life. To which I know someone might be thinking, what do you have to know about self-control? You're skinny, you look like you're in shape, you can probably eat anything you want. This is easy for you to talk about. Sabrina, would you set some people straight and be nice? But do I need to learn some self-control when it comes to this?
There's this one food group that Jeff has.
Is it a food group? I treat it like it is.
You treat it like it's a food group, but it's a food item that you can't just eat the serving size. It's more like the whole bag. And it is chips.
Yeah, any chips, really.
Yeah, it doesn't
tortilla
matter
chips.
what the flavor of
If
chips
it's tortilla,
it
there's
is.
salsa or dip to go with it. If it's potato chips, there's, French onion dip. Yeah, it literally, you're. This is not an exaggeration. I could eat an entire bag of chips.
I have said to him before, not to try to mother him, but just tried to help him. Like, should you stop eating those chips? Would it be helpful if I took them away? And he says, no, you don't need to take these away. I am fine. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But then I hear later, why did you let me eat all those chips? Like it's my fault that I didn't stop him.
Yeah. If food is out, I will just keep eating. I need somebody to portion control my food.
I've tried that.
I know. And then I don't let you.
I've offered to put it in baggies for easy access.
I'm not as much of a feeler as Sabrina is, so I'm not in tears, but I'm being convicted by my own podcast. So not only do I still struggle with this, and even this podcast, as I said, is convicting to me, but if people are thinking, this is easy for you, I haven't always been thinner and in shape. I mean, I used to weigh 50 to 70 pounds more. I stopped weighing myself at some point because I was, for for my body type, my size, I was very much overweight. I weighed a lot more than I do now. Much
you
more.
weighed a lot more.
Yes. Yes.
Than you do now.
Yeah. If you're watching online, I'm going to show some pictures of me before my weight loss, which you've seen them. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a different person.
Yes.
Right? So I had massive self-control issues, and I still struggle with self-control when it comes to certain foods. Just 2 years ago, in the midst of living what I thought was a pretty healthy life, after an annual physical, I learned that my cholesterol was way too high, like borderline dangerously high. And we had to make some massive adjustments, like massive, to my diet in order to regulate it. And it affected the whole family's diet to make it something for me. So there's the spiritual side to it of self-control, but there's a physical side as well.
Yeah.
And please hear me. What I'm about to share, I share with the utmost care and concern. I am not trying to point out anyone or make anyone feel less than, but these numbers are just the reality of where our culture is today. And it's unfair to judge anyone based on a number, because some people might be in these numbers, but actually living a life that's getting them out of them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is not meant to be shared in a judgmental way. These are just the reality of where culture's at physically. Okay. 80% of the dollars spent on healthcare each year are spent on chronic diseases related to overeating, not enough sleep, or not enough exercise. 80% of our medical dollars are spent on things we could just control by living healthier. That one was crazy to me.
Yeah.
74% of American adults are considered overweight, and 42% are in the obese category. 22% of teenagers are considered obese. 21% of kids ages 6 to 11 are considered obese for their age range. The reason that's a problem, or can be a problem, is this. Among the leading causes of preventable premature deaths are obesity-related conditions of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and certain types of cancer that are related to obesity. Weight-related diabetes and heart disease have exploded over the last 25 years. In 1995, all 50 states had less than 20% of their population listed as obese. Currently, no states in the union have less than 20% of their population listed as obese. One of the biggest contributing factors to our poor health is our lack of exercise. Sedentary behavior, which just means staying still, has been linked to many medical problems. Experts recommend adults get at least 150 minutes of moderate physical activity a week. That's 2.5 hours of not just, I move at my job, but intentional physical activity meant for exercise.
I'm going to jump in real quick. I keep seeing all over social media that sitting now is the equivalent to what smoking does to your body.
Wow.
Like, so many people are sitting
Yeah.
for their jobs or whatever. And it's now the equivalent
Wow.
to that. Which
Wow.
That every time I see it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get up and do something.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's one of the reasons why I like having a standing desk at my office, because much of my job is sitting.
right. Much of most people's
Yeah.
jobs is sitting.
Yep. And so to be able to stand occasionally throughout the day, even just standing, helps the blood flow.
Yeah.
But so recommended 2.5 hours of moderate physical activity a week. The problem is only half of adults get the physical activity needed to help reduce chronic diseases from obesity. That's crazy. Not only does physical activity help with obesity-related issues, but it can improve your brain health, decision-making, judgment. Do you think those relate to our worship of Jesus?
Yeah.
Decision-making and judgment. Those are pretty important to following Jesus. So exercise plays a direct role in that. It reduces the risk of disease, exercise does, decreases feelings of anxiety, reduces the risk of depression, helps you sleep better, strengthens bones and muscles, improves your ability to do everyday activities, and it can increase your sex drive. Hello.
You want me to go for a walk right
I
now?
almost couldn't read that. I got so excited to read it. Yeah, I want you to go on a walk. That was awesome. 110,000 deaths per year could be
Wow.
prevented if U.S. adults ages 40 and older would increase their physical activity by as little as 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes.
That right there, just like drop the mic and let's go on. Who can't give 10 minutes? I'm speaking to myself. My
Yeah.
goodness.
It would decrease-
I got plenty of time to exercise.
It would
and
prevent
I've not done it.
110,000 deaths a year if we just moved for 10 minutes.
Wow.
Sleep is also a massive factor in our health. I'm clapping because this is one Sabrina struggled with right now. I hate to break it to all the night owls, but it's scientifically proven that people ought to go to bed earlier and wake up in the early morning hours.
Did you add that just for me?
I did.
Thanks.
I haven't always been a morning person, but I just wanted to say that.
Okay.
That pattern, the reason why is
I know it's good.
that pattern matches our biological tendencies to line up our sleep pattern with the sun.
Yeah.
Just the way our bodies are meant to work.
Yeah.
People say they're night owls, that that's just the way they're wired. And I'm sure there's some to do with that. But it's actually mostly not true scientifically. Circadian rhythms, which are the rhythms of the body to sleep in certain patterns, when we term night owls or early risers, what it usually is just somebody who's trained their body to sleep a certain way. So the more you stay up at night and sleep in longer, the more your brain thinks that's what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it builds in what's called that circadian rhythm. Well, it's actually not the rhythm our body needs. It's just the rhythm we've created.
Yeah.
In the same way, you can train your brain to become a morning person. You may not always enjoy the mornings, but physically speaking, it's just healthier to go to bed earlier and get up earlier. You're not enjoying this part of the podcast, I can tell by your face.
Because I'm in the summer habit. And
Yeah.
I know I'm not alone in the summer habit of I don't have a time I have to get up in the morning and my kid sleeps all day long. So I am staying up later and sleeping in. And
Yep.
next Wednesday is going to be a little rough.
In the research I did, though, this hopefully will be encouraging for people. They said, like scientists said, don't get too caught up on when you sleep. It's more important that you get enough sleep.
Mm.
And adults should be getting 7 hours of sleep or more per night. Again, that's just science.
Yeah.
Some people want 9 hours. Some people say they can function on 5. You can probably function on 5, but it's just not that sweet spot is 7.
Yeah.
7 hours of sleep a night. Not getting enough sleep on a regular basis can also lead to more long-term health consequences. These include getting sick more often, high blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, obesity, depression. Ironically, sleeping too much also has the same side effects. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
There's like a window of what's best for the body.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just that you should sleep for 12 hours. That could also have the same side effects.
Yeah.
The point is trying to find the healthiest sleep pattern and amount that is best for each of us to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the clear physical side effects of poor eating, lack of sleep, and lack of exercise. And then here's the crazy part to me. We know all that.
Mm-hmm. We know it up here
Yeah,
in our head.
in our heads.
But if we don't connect it to our hearts, that's why I feel like I need a truth statement, because I feel like that's the beauty of speaking truth, is it connects our head and hearts. Like we'll do it for a while because we have head knowledge, but if we don't have
Yep.
connection, we won't stick with it.
Like none of the things I just read are a surprise to anybody.
No.
I mean, it's just, I went and found the actual research that was done,
Mhm.
and people were like, yeah, I know that. I'm saying to people for myself,
Mm-hmm.
we know that.
It's doing it.
Yes, we know we should care for our bodies better, but we still struggle to do it. That's why we have to change the way we think, not just mentally, spiritually connected to our heart, like you just said.
Yeah.
In the brain, we know it,
Mm-hmm.
but our spiritual minds need to get it, right?
Yeah.
We don't have wellness issues and weight problems. We have worship issues and willpower problems.
You could probably say that again. Holy buckets.
We don't really have wellness issues and weight problems. We have worship issues and willpower problems.
We have control issues.
That's truth.
I mean, that is
And when we say
me.
we, it's we
Me.
at this podcast.
I have
Yeah.
control issues.
Yeah. We don't need an outside in approach. We need an inside out approach.
Man, that is really good.
We need to view how we care for our bodies as an act of worship to God. Yes, some of us might need to change the way we eat, add some exercise into our schedule, be more proactive in our sleep patterns, or any variety of things. Yes, for some of us listening, it will be a long road ahead. Yes, for most of us, it will be much harder than we think. But I want to challenge us to see this from a whole new perspective. Caring for our bodies, eating healthier, exercising regularly, getting the appropriate amount of sleep. These things are not about looking better, feeling better, or living longer. Those are great benefits if they happen.
Yeah.
This is about worshiping Jesus, offering our bodies as a living sacrifice. It's about managing well the body he's giving us while we are on the earth. Thoughts?
Do you look at, is that how you look at exercise because you are so disciplined? Do you look at it as an act of worship?
I think it's what got me more focused on it, but I lose sight of that easily.
So you had started to look at it like that, but doesn't mean that you're always thinking when you walk out the door that you're worshiping Jesus.
Yes. I do view it though. I would say this. I view it as a part of my spiritual disciplines. So like I just don't always cognitively think, hey, when I go out for a walk, this is part of my worship, but I've put it into the rhythm of my life enough now that I view it as it's as important to me as my morning time with the Lord.
Yeah, because
I don't miss very many days.
I don't even know if you miss any days. It's pretty rare for you not to miss a day. It is very easy for me to ignore. I even have reminders in my
And you just turn them off when they buzz you.
In my reminder app, I have all my true statements that I say daily. I have everything I need to do, the part of the house I need to clean, what exercises I should do. Like I should stretch. I should read for 30 minutes. Like I got it all in there. But literally, I will look, like today, I looked at the exercise part. I'm supposed to work my lower body, and I clicked it, and I just went on.
That is hilarious.
Because I was like, I don't want to do that today. Like, I have all the things set up, but I don't have a head-heart connection where exercise is concerned. Like, I seriously need a true statement for that.
That's funny.
And I need to say that every day, because I say my true statements every day, but the other stuff, I might just click on by, and I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
I'll just go upstairs and watch TV. But I don't know that I've ever looked at it as me worshiping Jesus. And I don't want to miss out on worshiping him.
Yeah. Yep. Monday through Thursday, I'm really good. Just the days I'm going into the office and I have pretty
You have a routine.
set routine. And then Saturday on Sabbath, I don't exercise. On Sunday, I don't because I'm at church for 12 to 14 hours.
Yeah.
So Friday is the day that I would struggle the most. And it's usually because I sleep in longer. And then if we have anything planned, if I don't get to it right away.
Yeah.
My goal is 5 times a week. Well, we're going to do that here in a second. So lastly, I want to say this. If you're still with us, and we may have lost all of our listeners by now, we may not have a podcast any longer after this one, Sabrina. Please, again, hear this. There is no condemnation in this.
Oh my goodness, no.
None. Jesus' love for you is not based on how you look in a swimsuit, what number is on the scale, what size of clothes you wear, how fast you can run a mile, how much weight you can lift, how much sleep you get or don't get, or when you get that sleep. His love for he loves you just the way you are and exactly how you are. It's from that love that we can be fueled to follow him and love him with all of our heart, soul, mind, and body. So, we've shared some of our current struggles. What would you say is your biggest struggle? Is it working out or is it eating? When it comes to taking care of your body.
Working out and sugar.
Okay, yeah, you're a sugar addict.
do have a true statement
Yeah,
for sugar.
yeah.
That
And you're good, way better.
Yes. And I'm telling you that true statement has made a huge impact on me. I don't have my phone in front of me, but it's something to the effect of I do have self-control with Jesus' help. I choose not to eat sweets except on Sabbath.
Yeah.
And then I have some positive things that Jesus says about me. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes I don't say it. Because I'm like...
Because you want to have it?
Yes.
That is hilarious.
But
we're getting real and raw, folks.
Since I've started saying that, the temptation for sugar, even if other people are eating it, is so much less.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so
That's awesome.
I know it has helped. So now
I don't have any for food or...
You don't? But you need one for chips
Yeah,
and
see, I don't want
self-control.
one. I like eating all those chips.
Well, and I still
I
really
know.
like sugar.
Yeah.
Like,
So we did, like, we made a commitment on some eating guidelines
yeah.
that make Sabbath kind of a celebration day, a cheat day. I don't want to call it a cheat day. It's more of a, hey, we're just going to enjoy
Yeah.
what we want to on Sabbath, whether it's sweets or chips. It's the only day. Like, one of the guidelines I have right now is I will only have chips on Sabbath, or if it's a part of the planned meal that you plan. And sometimes
And do you want to confess?
Sometimes I will try to weasel chips into the plan.
Yes, you will. Are you making cheese dip? And I'm like, no.
Are we having chips with tacos tonight?
No, we're just having tacos.
And this last week, I added chips to the meal.
Would you like to tell us what you did this last week with the chip basket?
We have a chip basket in our pantry that had gotten overloaded with bags of chips that our son Jonah had gotten from his Mexican deliveries that he gets, Mexican food deliveries. And so I thought, there's a lot of chips in here. We need to see if any of these bags are, stale, to know if we should keep them.
Yes.
And so I had to go through each bag and try at least one chip from every bag to see if it was still, I wanted to make sure we were providing only the best for our children.
And you were just helping me organize the pantry.
I was
by
being a
doing
servant.
that. You were serving me. Yes. That was
So you see, I have problems as well.
yes.
So we actually currently have pretty strict diet that we stick to. If it's a special occasion, a birthday, an anniversary, a vacation, we will be more lax on that.
But we just know that self-control in those areas for us, we are very, very weak.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much to throw us off.
Yeah.
And so
our current, because of my high cholesterol and what the doctor recommended for me, we currently don't eat any pork, because pork is one of the biggest culprits for cholesterol. We cut out a lot of dairy, most dairy actually.
you do better than the rest of us
Yeah.
on dairy.
But I'm the one that needs to.
Yeah.
No fried foods. Last night we went on a double date with somebody and we had chicken and waffles, and it was fried chicken tenders. But very rarely do we get fried food.
Fried food we would have on a normal, or not even a normal basis, but like French fries would be the most fried food because we don't.
But we don't even get that hardly anymore.
No,
we eat very little fried food. In fact, it's not even.
I don't
Most of
even
the time, it's
want
not
it.
even a craving. Yeah.
French fries is the only fried food that we haven't given up
And we've tried to
completely.
get more often than not sweet potato French fries.
Yes, they're still probably fried, but
Yeah, they are, but
it's a
compromise.
option. Yeah.
I don't hardly have any red meat. And when I cut out, so 6 months into changing that 2 years ago when my cholesterol was so high, we did strict, cream cheese was out.
We did no dairy.
Yeah,
for
completely.
for 6
And my
months.
cholesterol dropped dramatically.
100 points by changing your diet.
It got me down into what's more of a normal range.
Yeah.
It's still elevated, but it's not.
But it is genetics.
Yeah, it runs in my family. So and I'm trying to stay off of medication is the thing. So we had to drastically change my diet.
It also runs in my family,
Yep.
but not as bad
Yep.
as Jeff's.
So we are pretty strict on our diet with the occasional splurge.
Yeah.
Neither of us drink soda. We've cut that out for years. I will have it if I go to a movie theater.
Could you see my face?
Yes. If the only time I ever have is at the movies.
Yeah.
And I will get a large popcorn and a soda. And it is glorious.
But we don't go to movies
not very often. So yeah, special occasions we will splurge. Every Sabbath we try to have some kind of treat. I'll usually have chips on Sabbath, and I look forward to it. It's been actually a fun part of Sabbath. I look forward to my chips every Sabbath.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's become a treat.
Yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I can't wait for football season to have chips and dip on Saturday.
So then to help you when you come home from work, I usually have cucumbers.
Yes, we've changed
and
over
a
to
tzatziki dip
Yep.
on the counter, or pretzels and hummus,
Yep.
or carrots.
Yeah,
and
we've switched over to
hummus.
hummus. We've switched over to vegetables with dip
So I
instead
try
of
to
chips.
have
Yep.
something healthier when he comes home from work, because that's
I used
when
to
he
come home
wants
from
to eat.
Yep. I used to come home from work, get home about 5:30 or whatever it is, and I would want
You
chips
just
and dip.
eat chips while I was making
Yeah.
dinner.
It was like an appetizer.
So I
but
try
now,
to have
yep,
different things for you.
yep. I eat tons of salad now. Tons of salad.
Yeah. I am not good at eating salad.
And
Jeff is really good
I
at
love it.
eating
I could have salad every meal. I love it.
Well, not me.
So that's our current kind of eating struggles and guidelines. My current workout routine. So I am pretty consistent Monday through Thursday of working out. And a workout for me is, I'm not trying to be like a bodybuilder or anything. I gave up running a long time ago because my knees and back and hips hurt so much. But I walk 4 times a week, Monday through Thursday. I walk for at least 30 minutes. So I try to keep a pretty brisk pace. I walk about 15-minute per mile pace, which is moving pretty good. And I do that unless the weather keeps me from doing it, or if there's something in my schedule that
You did awesome this summer. I fell apart this summer. But you
I get up early.
I know.
So
sleep
I
in.
beat the heat. By the time you're ready to go exercise, it's
Too hot.
100 degrees outside,
So you did a really good job.
which is the reverse as it was in Wyoming. There was months in the winter in Wyoming. If we didn't have that elliptical,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have worked out. It was blowing 40 miles an hour and 0 degrees. That's not even possible.
Yeah.
I also try to lift weights once a week, and I'll rotate from chest and back one week, and I'll do arms. I only do upper body weights, but I try to lift weights once a week.
And you do a lot of push-ups.
So yeah, as a part of my workout routine, before or after I go walk, I do have a whole stretching. I stretch every day, and I do 100 push-ups a day on my workout days, and I'll do 100 reps of some sort of ab exercise. I have like 15 or 17 different ab exercises I rotate. And I still can't get rid of my spare tire around my belly. That's part of being old, I think. So that's my workout routine. What would you like your workout routine to be?
Well, in my reminders app, I have it all laid out. It's very organized. Legs one day, arms one day, 4 times a week. I would walk 4 times a week. Once July, when we got back from Mariah's reception in July, I kind of just fell apart, and
Yeah, you were doing really good.
I know, and I got sick, and I was depressed, and I wasn't in the sun.
Yeah.
And just struggling.
That's even a huge part of it. Just getting outside to walk gets you in the sun. And we didn't even talk about the mental, emotional effects, physical effects of just getting sunlight.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's everything I see is if you can get sun in the morning for at least 15 minutes, it will make such a huge difference. And
Wow.
I have felt that,
Yeah.
like physically, mentally,
Yeah.
spiritually. And so in July, when I was really struggling, one morning you came to our room and you were like, I think I know why you're struggling. You're not exercising. You're not sleeping right. You're not getting outside. And
I said it nice. I said it
You
nicer
said it
than
nice,
that.
but I didn't want to hear those things from you because I already knew. So
Yeah.
once Jeff said those things, I was like, he's right. I am not doing any of the things I know I should be doing. I never stop reading my Bible.
Yeah,
and
you
praying,
never stop that.
Like, but I will throw everything else to the wind and just
You need to
not
view
wanna
it as
do
part of your.
But I didn't think about
I know.
it
I'm
as
saying now.
worship.
I'm saying now.
I know.
View it as an extension of your time with God.
Yeah. So I'm gonna change the way I think, and school starts, like this will come out and school will be starting, and so my plan is to take Jada to school, which I drop her
Yeah.
off at 7 a.m.
And then go
and then
work
I'm
out.
gonna go walk.
Yep. Yep.
Whether I have my Bible reading
Yeah.
and stuff done, I may just have to interrupt that.
Yeah.
So
That's
that I
good.
can get walking in, because the temperatures are coming down, but it's still
Pretty warm. And again, it's what you hear all the time in the South. It's the humidity that's worse than the heat, really.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, our current sleep patterns and struggles. I really don't have I don't have any struggles sleeping.
Raise your hand if you know someone that can fall asleep in negative 0.3 seconds, because that's Jeff. We're like talking in bed, and then all of a sudden I hear snoring, and then I say something. He's like, "Well, I was asleep," and I'm like, "You already fell asleep?" Oh my goodness.
Yep. I'm asleep before 10 every night. Sometimes before 9.
Sometimes at 8:00 watching TV.
Yeah. But I mean, I'll
But
go.
you get up early.
Yeah, I try to be in bed by 9. I might watch a little bit of TV, and I usually fall asleep watching Sports Center. But I try to be in bed by 9, especially on work days, especially. And I'm up. I mean, I don't even set an alarm in the morning. I set an alarm only on Sunday, just in case I happen to oversleep, which I never do. But I set an alarm on Sunday so I'm not late for my, to preach a sermon.
Yeah.
But I wake up at 5 without an alarm every day, sometimes before 5. The latest I will sleep on a normal work day is like 5. If I've slept till 5:30, it's messed my whole morning up. It really does. Because then I will get up and I've been spending almost 90 minutes because of what I've added to my spiritual routine with my true statements and stuff. It's lengthened my time that I normally spend in the morning. Also, on a regular work day morning, it'll be at least an hour that I will spend in the Word and in prayer. And it's been even longer than that here recently. So if I don't, and I know when I have to start my workout routine, or to be done in time to get a shower and get to work on time. So if I start past 5:30, I something gets cut. So and I've not always been that way. I used to be a horrible sleep patterns, horrible, like sleeping until noon, horrible as a grown adult with a job, right?
That was when we were
with youth pastors. Yeah,
we had no kids.
Yeah, and I blamed it on students being over to our house, and they'd be over to our house
till like 2 in the morning.
But still, it was a horrible pattern for me to be in. But
Well,
I don't have any, like literally I have zero. The only time I have problems sleeping is in seasons of life where I was really struggling with high anxiety, and I would not have a trouble falling asleep. But if I woke up, I couldn't go back to sleep.
Yeah.
I would start getting anxiety about whatever the situation was.
Yeah.
Even as this transition a year ago, when we were walking through resigning from Element, we were both having that high anxiety.
I couldn't go to sleep because the anxiety.
And then
was
I couldn't
so
go
high.
back to sleep. I'd wake up at midnight and not be able to go back to sleep. So anyway, that's where I'm at with sleep. You go kind of back and forth. You like when you don't have to get up, you aren't going to get up.
I don't have to get up for a job.
Right.
So I have to get up to take Jada to school.
Yep.
And I've had 3 months off,
Yes.
essentially.
And you've taken advantage of it.
And
You've
I
been staying
have.
up later.
Yeah.
If you don't stay up late, you'll get up earlier.
Yeah. If I go to bed when you go to bed, and
You'll
I
get
won't,
up on time.
I won't fall asleep when you fall asleep,
Yeah.
but I usually like to fall asleep between 10 and 10:30, and I will automatically wake up at 6.
Yeah.
Now, I do have to set an alarm for school because
Yep.
I don't want to miss it or something.
Yeah.
But I'll start getting up here at 5:30, and I'll do a little whatever I can before it's time to take Jada to school, and then I'll have to come back and
Yep.
finish it. But recently, I'm trying to stretch more because I'm just getting old.
Yeah.
And
It does help.
you're very
Oh,
good.
man.
You're so much more flexible than I am, and I'm like,
I do it every day, though.
I
I mean,
have to stretch.
I've not missed stretching.
So I've started like even listening to my Bible as I'm stretching, and that just helps me do both. And so sometimes you just have to
Yeah.
do weird combinations to figure it out. Or like when I was walking before July, I was listening to my Bible while I walked, and I like that. And so like do whatever. It's okay. There's not
Yeah.
one way
Yep.
to
Yep.
do it.
I'm pretty intentional. I try to get at least 7 hours of sleep a night. That's my goal. So I mean, I do the math backwards.
Honestly, I've never even thought about how many hours of sleep I should get.
I put it in my life plan. I did 7 hours sleep a night.
We are so different.
We are very different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So I'll do the math backwards. If I have to be up by this time, when do I need to go to bed? And I mean, pretty consistently, I'll get at least 7. I mean, if I'm asleep by 10 and get up at 5, that's 7 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna sleep by 10 every night.
Well before 10.
Yeah. I mean, on Thursday night, Friday and Saturday are my day off and Sabbath. And so I'll often stay up later on Thursday or Friday, especially if I've had caffeine late in the day. And I'll sometimes intentionally drink caffeine late in the day if I know we're going to, Jada wants to watch a movie tonight. Jada and I tried watching a movie last night and I fell asleep. And I said, I really want to see it. We're trying to watch all the Marvel movies in chronological order. So timeline order, not release order. And the one we're watching now, we both really like. And so I woke up and told her last night, I was like, I can't stay awake, honey. She said, that's fine. So we're going to finish it later, but that's off subject there. I would say this, start somewhere.
Yeah.
So
if you're going to put things in order of importance, reading your Bible.
Yes, spending time being with Jesus is most important.
Yes.
So be with him in the word, be with him in prayer, listening and talking.
Hey, I just thought of this.
Yeah.
If you go back to love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, can you pull something from heart, soul, mind, and strength in the order of importance that you could do things? Or could that be somewhere your heart, I don't know, something to kind of think about. Like, could that, so that a person doesn't get overwhelmed, like, what does it mean to love God with all my heart? What are the actions that would go with that? And once I get that down, then I could move to my soul, my mind, whatever.
Yeah, that's good.
Why don't you work something up with that?
Thanks for that. Thanks for giving me more to do. So I've not thought about that. I don't know if there is. I've never heard of anybody saying there's an order of importance to it, but it's good. You could make it that for yourself.
Yeah, you could come up with what that looks like.
But like if you're not, and we're going to talk about relationship with Jesus on the next episode, but if you're not spending any time with Jesus, and you just heard me talk about how I spend an hour to an hour and a half, don't make that your goal.
Oh my gosh.
Start with a verse. Read one verse in scripture and ask the Lord, what do you want me to know about this? How do you want me to feel about this? And what do you want me to do with this?
Yeah.
Know, feel, do. That's what we teach at the Harbor when it comes to reading the word is what should I know? What does God want me to know? How am I feeling? Which be honest about your own emotions, but then also what does God want me to feel? And then what does God want me to do? And you can ask Jesus those questions.
And you might need to shut down the spirit of comparison and tell him to go back
with
to
all
hell.
These things.
Yeah, because we don't want you to compare yourself to us. And
or anybody.
We don't want to compare ourselves to anybody. The comparison trap is So
And man,
evil.
my goodness, we're coming up on an hour here and we didn't even talk about comparison. That comparison is one of the biggest enemies in this whole conversation.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I looked like them. I wish I
Remember,
weighed as much as them.
right. Remember when you're looking at social media, it is the
Highlight
person's
reel.
highlight reel, and you do not know what filters have been on there or what angles they stood.
Yep.
Like, you really have to take all of that in consideration and love who you are just the way you are, and ask Jesus, what does it look like for me to live out, to love you with my heart, soul,
Yeah.
mind, and strength? And he will help you.
Yep.
You just have to listen.
We're turning into a long form podcast here.
Sorry.
The Sabbath one was really long too. No, it's good. This has all been really good. Anything else you want to add to our current guidelines and struggles or anything?
No,
Anything else?
I don't think we missed anything.
If anybody
but-
wants to know specific things, you can
yeah, we're willing
reach
to
out. We'll share more.
Yeah.
We did get one specific question, by the way, from a listener about health and recreation. They asked this: with health and recreation, what's a reasonable amount of time to spend on each per day? How does that look in marriages with children, especially small children? If the balance is uneven between spouses, what are some good ways to approach that topic with a spouse who is usurping all the health and recreation time for themselves? So I'll take those in order. Reasonable amount of time to spend. Like if working out or just recreation hobbies in general ever got in the way with my time to be with God or to be with my family, it's too much. Different seasons will call for different amounts. Like there's just some seasons you can't work out as much as you should or want to.
Yeah.
I try to get 30 minutes and I was even thinking if I get 30 minutes of cardio 4 days a week, it still is not what they recommend.
Because it's 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
And you're only
That's
doing
2 hours. So I've been thinking about do I need to add extra time on those 4 days, or do I need to add cardio to a 5th day? That's crazy.
I think you could also go back with this part and just do 10 minutes a day.
Correct.
Like,
Yes.
just
Start there. Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah. Because of that one study,
Yeah.
if we increased our physical activity by 10 minutes a day, it would decrease the number of deaths by 110,000.
That, to me, I'm like, okay, 10 minutes a day.
That's
I can
crazy.
do 10
Yeah.
minutes a day.
Yeah.
Even though I have time for more,
Start
like,
there.
motivation wise, I'm like, I can get my head around
And
10
if
minutes.
you think about all of us, every single one of us, waste 10 minutes somewhere in a day,
Oh, for sure.
usually on our phone.
Yeah. Scrolling, not
So
thinking.
that's a good idea. Start with 10 minutes. Reasonable is going to depend on your situation. I can't say what's reasonable.
Yeah.
For me, what I'm doing is very reasonable. It does not interfere. I usually get all my morning routine done before anybody in the house is awake.
Yeah.
So it does not affect my family time at all or my time with God, because I've made it a part of it. So you have to decide what's reasonable for you.
Yeah.
As with anything, we've not said this word yet. We probably should have a long time ago. We need moderation.
Yeah.
Our pursuit of health can become all-consuming, just like anything else.
We don't want anything to become an idol. We have to be
Correct.
careful
That's very
about
good.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the way you look, how much you weigh, those can become idols.
And then the way you try to fix it
Yeah.
can become an idol.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we got to keep and that's where our head and heart have to stay connected, and why spending however long it is, 1 minute to 90 minutes
Yep.
time with Jesus, that has to be our number one priority.
Yep. So the question with what do you do if you have kids? Again, do what you can when you can.
We've done so many different things
Yep.
through the seasons.
Yep. If you're married, try and share the time.
Yeah.
Like you get this time, I get this time. If you're single with kids, or your spouse is maybe military, travels, works, weird shifts, you're going to got to get creative.
Yeah.
When you and I first started our health journey in 2003, I think it was, we worked out when the kids were sleeping, either early in the morning
Or late at
or late at night.
I have gone to the gym.
Yeah, I used to go to the gym. Yeah.
Many, many years.
Late.
At 10 o'clock
Yeah.
at night, after I had done all
Yep.
my duties as a stay-at-home mom and wife and taking care of everybody, then I would go to the gym.
Yep.
I did that a long
We
time.
have pictures of us at a church family camp in our bedroom, dark, working out
Mm-hmm.
because we had a kid in there sleeping.
Yeah.
That's when it started.
Yeah.
And we got super early and the kids were sleeping and we did a workout DVD on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
Remember doing that?
Yes, I do remember that.
So you're going to have to get creative. But again, if you have kids, it's one of those seasons where you got to find pockets
Or
of
share
time.
with a friend,
Yeah.
switch off with a friend, babysitting.
Or take your kids with you if you're able to.
Take your kids to a park and you just
Yes,
walk around
the park while they're playing. Walk circles.
Yeah.
Do
Stand there and
Yeah,
do
squats.
Who cares?
Yep.
Don't let anybody.
Yeah.
Don't let what people think about you.
Absolutely.
Change that.
pull them in a wagon, push them in a stroller.
Yes. Do whatever it takes.
to
Yeah.
just move.
Yeah.
Move. And then the balance one, if you're married and one spouse is taking all the time for their own health, you probably need to have a sit down heart to heart conversation about your desires as well. I would, commend your spouse for their own pursuit of their health. Like, hey, I am thankful that you're taking care of your body, appreciate them for pursuing it, but then express your desire to pursue it as well. And compromise with some kind of shared schedule. Hopefully, if you have hopefully the spouse would respond appropriately. But anything else?
No, that's all really good.
All right. If you have any questions you'd like us to answer, you can always email my assistant, hello@jeffmanis.com. You can reach out to us on social media, Jeff G. Manis on Instagram, Sabrina.Manis on Instagram, and Sabrina.AkersManis on Facebook. Or you can DM us on there as well. So follow us there, ask questions there. If you would, whether you liked or hated this podcast, subscribe to it, like it, rate it, review it, share it with your friends. We would greatly appreciate that. Sabrina, why don't we end with our marriage mission? We are united in Christ, unstoppable with Christ, and unbreakable because of Christ. Now it's time for you to go get naked
And partake.
We'll see you on the other side. You've been listening to the Naked Party Time podcast. Join us next time as we get real and raw about life, leadership, and love.